And here we are. The Coven of Seer's Rest, The Great American Witch, the finale of Blood Moon Rising. All in red today because, you know, gotta keep with the theme. My wonderful Coven has been through so much. I was finally done with the Illuminati bullshit. I mean, I think you might still want to be played by their rules, but hey, I'm not one to tell you what to do. And of course, the big culmination, the big climax of this beautiful game. I'm Lydia. I'm your guide today. Half-Hour's Termit on the internet, and I can't wait to see what everyone's story is going to be, where everything is going to lead, and how we all end up, hopefully alive, but of course, no guarantees. If you want to help them stay alive, no copyright. If you want to help them stay alive, there is a donation option. I'm going to put the link in chat, and you can give them a couple of rerolls, wheels, and woes for this system. You can also donate boons or banes, and of course, pit pals. Hey, that would be a fun thing for the finale. And if you want to help with retweets, that is also an option, because when we reach 20 retweets, we actually give them a free boon. When we get to 30, they'll get a bane, so careful with that. But at 40, another boon. So if you want to retweet and spread the word, we'd love that. And of course, the players would be very grateful as well. For 5 subs, we give them a round of rerolls all around. They don't have any at the moment, so they might be quite grateful for that too. The game itself is made by Chris Gray, who you might know if you've played Happiest Apocalypse on Earth or The Great American Novel. Also coming up with a couple of new systems because the man never sleeps, and I'm very much looking forward to Highcaster in particular. But check out the link down below. And if you're watching on YouTube, of course, they're in the description. Thanks so much for being with us on YouTube. And please tell us how you're enjoying the series so far and what you think of the finale when it's all said and done. We're always happy about comments. We also want to say thanks to our sponsors. Links are also in chat and in the descriptions. They've helped us create this whole season on Weave the Tale. As all of these lovely folks here know, it's not cheap. And it's not exactly easy to put so many games up on stream every day of the week, and that has helped us a lot to keep the costs low. So we say thanks to Chris Gray, of course, to Broken Dice as well for the Nuaran Chronicles, which we played on Tuesday, Black Void Games on Wednesday, Mighty Narwhal with Mora, also having the finale, having a special interview this week, and then the finale next one, and Smudgy Games with Parslings. On Friday, we now play Defiant, Thanks Game Machinery, a little 3-parter that Val is also involved in. Super on brand, I hear. And of course, on Saturday, led by the amazing Trooper SJP, we play Evil Hat Productions' Tachyon Squadron after having played Fate of Cthulhu. So thank you so much, guys, for all of that. We also have affiliates. If you need some coffee, we all need some coffee, don't we? Then you should check out Grinding Coffee. They actually deliver straight to you. I'm more of a tea drinker myself, but I've had now 3 people from various casts in my ears going, Lydia, you should start drinking coffee. They're so good. We also have Dice Dungeons for all your dice paraphernalia. So if you want to check both of these lovely companies out, there's a little discount code for you in chat as well. But now, let's introduce our Coven of Seer's Rest. Let's start with our dear Rindis. Who are you playing? How are you happy, or hopefully you're happy with Marcus's arc so far? And what are you hoping for, a dear boy?
Hi everyone, I'm Rindis of Party Wipe Games. Of course, I will be playing Marcus of the Hecate Witches, one of 2. He's currently happy. I'm also currently happy. I was dog watching over the weekend, and I had to turn the pups back over to my parents now that they have moved my sister from Arizona back to Virginia with summer break starting. So it was a nice weekend getting to spend time with my pups that I hadn't seen all year. I had seen them sporadically, but having them here was nice. Otherwise, yeah, I'm good. And if my Weave the Tale trend continues, Marcus could very well die tonight, because I think I've only had one character survive with this channel So, and it was the first one, so maybe Colin was going easy on me.
Well,
he hasn't
the
been
good
merciful
news...
since.
No. The good news is Cat isn't here to shoot you in the back of the head, as she is
Also
wont
that.
to do. This is a call-out, Cat. But let's look at our at our second Hecate witch. Alyssa, Satan herself, how are you doing? And how is Naneshka faring?
I'm doing okay, recovering from uni finals week, and excited to play this game with everyone here, who I love very, very much. Naneshka's not doing as great. They are, they thought things were looking brighter, but apparently werewolves. Apparently werewolves. But yes, I play Naneshka 2 out of 2 Hecate wishes. I go by she, they, so does she.
And D, it's the Riddler. Our bestest flower girl, Anati, has been through quite a lot. How are you, and how is Anati?
Oh, I'm doing a lot better than Anati, but Anati's not as bad as she was. So, progress at the very least.
That's a very nice way of putting it. And Sylvie is, of course, having quite a lot of family tragedy to deal with at the moment. How are you doing, Val? How's life up in the Rockies?
I'm not technically in the Rockies. I'm in the Cascades. But I know. Like, listen, I just learned that there's like different mountain ranges on the West Coast when I moved here, so don't feel bad. Like, hi everyone, I'm Val. I bring Sylvie. As far as like how we're doing, I'm existing and a little disassociative right now because I've had weird sleep. And Sylvie is doing better than I am, I think, even with all of this family tragedy. Just because Sylvie's is way better at disassociating than I am. And I don't know if that makes her better, but like, it's like, she's, when she has a purpose, and she feels like she has a purpose, she's a bit unstoppable. So, she's going in. She's a bull. Wow.
With Sylvie, honestly, I never know if she's so well-adjusted, hyper well-adjusted in a sea of not so well-adjusted people, or if she also needs therapy. My money's on the latter, don't we all?
I think she's actually well-adjusted. Like, I think she is, I will be very honest, probably the most well-adjusted character I have ever played. With the exception of the dwarf that I play on Dragon Age. They're pretty well adjusted as well. But I think Sylvie is like pretty much like top tier well adjusted as a person. Like, she knows who she is, she knows what she's about. She's okay. Like, she's okay.
And we'll figure out what happens to all of these individual witches of the Coven of Seer's Rest. We've had a wild ride so far. This game is set in 1979, just at the end of the 70s, when Route 66 is slowly but steadily in decline. The interstate taking away all the traffic, lots of big corporations all around, and Seer's Rest is, of course, still holding on, because Seer's Rest has a mission. The town is full of supernatural creatures, some laying low, on the run from the law, on the run from the Illuminati, on the run from themselves. And the witches, traditionally, in several generations now, have helped these people, because that's in the end what they are, not creatures, but people, return to themselves and to the world. Now, throughout the last several episodes, it has become quite evident that the Illuminati are not overly happy with the existence of that coven, and with their mission, their goal, and they would very much like to take over, I'm sure with all the best intentions. Now, Sylvie's cousin, Madeline, is actually one of them, and a witch herself, and has worked in various tricksy ways to make that happen, to have the coven sign a contract that would, of course, be beneficial to both parties. Yeah, right. Now, with the last episode, I think we have finally made the decision as a Coven that this contract is bullshit. And it looks like the Illuminati have kind of come to that conclusion themselves. So while Madeline was distracting the witches, Alistair, a very high-ranking Illuminati member and leader of a werewolf pack, has taken care of some issues. And we left last episode with Pino and Cassius panting, out of breath, and clearly distressed, coming to the witches to let them know that they're gone. People of Seer's Rest taken. Sylvie, Pino is looking generally a bit out of it. You've never really seen him like that. Anati, you might have seen him like that for different reasons, but not the time to think about that just now. Cass is clearly worried, Nanishka, and Cass is clearly angry. Werewolves, I tell you. I can smell their stink all over town, no offense. He turns to Pino. Pino growls a little.
Not werewolves, but specifically Illuminati. I knew that bitch
Even
couldn't be
worse.
trusted with the smallest amount of trust. Anything. Do anyone see where they went?
I can try and pick up a scent. They weren't exactly subtle about it, Pino says.
We also need to figure out who exactly was taken. Get a head count. Who's still here?
I don't doubt it was some of our more supernatural residents.
Stella was out. I noticed. She told me she'd be back by a certain time. Wasn't back. I went to get her, fearing that she may have lost control or something, but no, it was them. It was a fight. She can hold her own, but Pino falls in. There were 3 of them just for her. We checked on the others. I can't find Leia. I can't find Rolf. We were just looking for Kay and Millery, but they weren't in the...
out.
Yeah, they could be out. It is the blood moon, and I know that they said they wanted to go for a hunt. Same for Jake. Haven't seen him anywhere.
Let's do another sweep. Find out who was taken, just like Anati said. Do a head count. Make phone calls if you have to.
If you want,
Now-
you can bring people into the bar. It's protected.
Yeah. Whoever's left, I think, should definitely be here.
I'll get on it, Cass says, and runs off. Pino stays with you, Sylvie. Are you guys wanting to use magic to find people or to do anything, or would you like to do this manually, because then we kind of can speed that up a little?
I think magic would work speed-wise, like in-game narrative. I know we've stretched the wording of certain spells, but I know Marcus and I, as Hecate wishes, have revealed the best path for the subject so that they find personal happiness and success. And what
Oh, that
would
works
be
quite
the-
well, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we could use that to track down the people that are missing. And
We
go
are,
kinda,
by the way, going into a menace chapter here, which will turn into a milestone chapter eventually. So do pick your aspects for yourselves. In a menace chapter, just as a reminder, every magic woven that isn't an aspect is cast at woe. All right.
I think I will
Do you want
enter
us to
this as
declare?
You can say it if you want to, or you can put it in chat. Up to you.
Okay.
I trust you guys.
I'm going to be in Crone.
Anati's gonna be in Crone for the first time this game.
I was hoping for
And
that.
Sylvie,
I'm between Mother and Crone, to be honest, because for protection and then for just being purely pissed off. You know what? I'm gonna personally roll for it. See, it's Crone.
Don't get sad,
well,
get angry.
Yeah, don't get
to be
sad. Get
slightly
even.
different. Am I muted? No, I'm not. To be slightly different, Sylvia's actually gonna go into Mother because she's feeling a bit protective. People just kidnapped people from her house. Like, she's
Yep.
like, oddly enough, she's a little bit more worried than she is mad in this moment. So I think Mother is definitely where she's gonna be at.
Right. So, Naneshka, are you casting the spell? Who is doing it out of the two Hecate ones?
I would like to personally give the floor to Marcus because I know Naneshka has cast a lot of spells. So
Marcus
I
can
would
take
like
the lead.
Yeah, and I can help in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
All right, Marcus, how does that look? What does that look like?
So we're going to be divining where everybody's gone. And so we have been using a spell. Let me get to it on the book here. We had just been kind of reflavoring the spirit guide one. So it would have just been calling on any of the people and spirits that still inhabit the area to kind of convey any information or help us get a lead on where they have been taken. I can't find
You
the spot in the book.
kneel down and place your hands on the ground. You call out to each and every spirit in town, and you know them all by name. The ones that have for now refused to move on, the ones that still need a chat, the ones that have found a home and you have decided it is actually their call whether they want to move on in the first place or not. You ask them all for help because they owe you, and if not you, then one of you. And you reach out and you find so many open thoughts and open minds of spirits old and new. You hear voices whispering, giving you the names of individual townspeople, little snippets. You hear information of how they were taken. Stella fought. She fought like a wildcat. She drew blood. One werewolf is hurt badly. You hear others. Rolf didn't know. Had no idea. They put a bag over his head and took him. And slowly but steadily you want to feel, you want to look for him, but you're focusing on your spell, you're focusing on your task, you're focusing on what you have to do. They asked Leia. I was curious. They didn't take her, they asked her to come. It was strange. She came willingly. Why? And then eventually you hear who you were looking for. Jake was at your house, waiting. I heard the bottle of wine break. I heard him scream your name. He fought too, but he was the only one that bled. They have him. The one thing that's strange is that none of the spirits tell you of Kay and Millery being gone. Instead, you get a really strange feeling. They're not far away at all. You feel them, their spirits, not dead, but in a strange magical state. They're just at the outskirts of town.
Could follow that.
They're not far. You should be able to find them if you are hurt. Jake is hurt. Some are missing still.
I don't know if they'll... I'm counting on that they don't want them dead. If not, they would have just killed them right here. Left a message. Let's find Kay and Mallory. If the werewolf bled, Pino might be able to track it. So may Cass. Everyone good with that plan?
I am.
Alright,
It's as good a place to start as any.
let's look for
You
Kay
follow-
and Mallory.
You follow Marcus's thin silver line of a connection. The spirits leading him, pointing him into the right direction. And eventually you see something quite odd. Just at the outskirts, the middle of the road, a little path that leads towards a forested area, a river, little nature reservoir in the area, often good for hikes and trails. You see what looks like a cocoon.
Not the strangest thing. I should go walk up to it.
Yeah, but not the strangest doesn't mean not normal. Maybe don't touch it.
Not touching it, TT.
How big of a cocoon is it?
Is it human
Big enough.
sized?
Big enough, bit slightly bigger than two humans could fit if they held on to each other.
Ugh.
I'm gonna take a switchblade out. And try to cut through it gently without cutting what's inside.
You start cutting and you feel the magical strands slowly, steadily breaking. You remember, all of you, that Kay and Millery, their grandfather, which of the spider grandmother, was once part of this coven. And as you cut them free, you see both of them holding on to a totem. Wood carved. Their eyes closed, slowly opening, blinking, looking around, and immediately they get jumpy, immediately they get fearful. But then they notice it's you and they relax.
Everything's fine.
Oh god.
Great.
I'm like immediately just gonna like grab both
Yeah.
of them in my large woman mass, like completely relieved and emotional that my essentially my surrogate siblings are fine.
And they collapse into your embrace. Oh god, I thought they got us. I thought they got us, Kay. Mallory says, you fucking... I'm doing your chores for the next 3 months. That was clutch. Is that an expression in the 70s? Nah.
It is now.
It is now.
In
Trendsetters.
New Mexico in the 70s, it was.
Did you
Oh,
any
God.
of you see anything?
Dude, we were fucking hunted by werewolves. That's why that I thought the town was safe. How did they manage to get in? Holy shit.
They decided to break the truce.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
Can we
that's what I
just...
said. Things are a bit more delicate. You weren't the only ones hunted down.
Wait, what's happened?
I need you to stay calm.
Can I swear?
Yes, that's fine.
Cool.
Please
Hit me.
swear.
There were others taken.
Is this Miller Ray or Kai that's talking?
Kai is a little bit more of the sweary person, but
Yeah, as soon as he says hit me, I'm gonna like punch him in the shoulder.
ow! Not like that.
Because I took him literally. Oh, I thought this was.
Try not to. They were just in some sort of weird cocoon things. Try not to.
Yeah, respect the victims.
Here. Here. I just put Sylvie's arm just around them just as a gentle hug. Do that. Others were taken forcefully. Some were
Oh,
wounded.
Oh fuck, that makes sense now. We heard they were in their hybrid forms, and we heard them say weird shit.
What'd you hear them say?
Something about others. That they have enough of them. Enough. What do they call them? Incentives. Miller says they call them. We have enough incentives. For what?
God, I hate those. There's a lot of things going on, my dears.
You have enough
Incentives and like
incentives.
hostages.
For us to sign that
incentives
fucking
leave.
contract.
Mhm.
Well, they mess with the wrong fucking Coven, that's for sure. We need to get these two back.
Yes.
Sophie.
Guys, are we gonna start a full-fledged war with the Illuminati?
No. That would be stupid. We're just going to try and wipe out a little sector of them.
Oh, and that's a genius plan,
We're going to give
I
them
think-
incentive to leave.
There, Marcus put it in better words.
All right, I'll put on my
You don't have
combat
to kill
boots.
them. You just maim them and beat them within an inch of their lives.
Okay, that's you. All right.
I think that's a step up for me, to be honest.
You know,
They- They're going to expect us to go rescue them.
Yep.
They're going to expect a full either caving. I don't think they expect us to cave at all. I think they expect us to take them on. And die trying. I think that's their plan. That so they don't
I
have to
think
worry
you're
about
right.
contracts or covens or anything like that. It's ingenious. We have to be smarter about this.
For once, I agree that maybe using fists is not the best step forward, magical or otherwise.
I have looked over the old contract before. What are the consequences of breaking the contract? Like, because that was like the thing. It's like you can't just have a truce and not have like
But
a consequence.
the contract's no longer valid because Afe is dead.
Trying to outsmart them once again. What it like out of characterly? I'm asking like what
Yeah.
those consequences are.
The consequences are numerous in terms of legalese, numerous. There would be essentially the Illuminati are threatening with both their supernatural as well as real life power, as in there's a clause in there that guarantees the Coven free reign and that none of the business ventures of the Illuminati that are involved in the interstate, that are involved in pretty much everything around in the bigger cities, would try and buy up their lands. There's both supernatural and normal repercussions that would probably, depending on who's leading and depending on who wants to fuck you up, be either swift and quite filthy, or would drag it out into a legal battle over the course of years to come, eventually leading to ruin. They focus on the legal stuff because that's who they are, but there are little clauses of, you know, we're not going to promise that we're not going to use any form of magical force that wouldn't equal the insults and affronts given towards us by the Coven. That being said, yeah, the contract right now isn't... There is no contract. Aoife's dead. This can go both ways.
I don't think they're going to drag this out now the way they did things, especially with Alistair in charge. He's a beast of nut because he's a wolf. I'm assuming we're walking and talking back into the town.
Yeah, for sure.
Pino has allows you to walk and talk in private. He sticks back. He knows he's not a part of the Coven as such, but at some point he says, I will, if they attack them here, I have a hunch I know where they're going. The moon is rising. We're all quite powerful right now. I should be able to keep my distance and figure out where they are anyway.
Anything
Where's
we
your
do, we
hunch?
have to do it now. We can't wait till nighttime.
It is sort of evening coming up. You see the moon in the distance, but you see the moon... it's still light outside. It's just, you know, a little pinkish glow at the horizon.
Oh boy, is he coming.
Yeah, I was still under the impression it was like early morning because we'd stayed up all night. Okay. From the funeral. Okay. Alright, I'm not saying the old plan is what we should stick to. However, I still don't think they suspected as such. But also, like, there's like another very pregnant pause. If there is any way that we can use that card of knowing an immortal, eternal entity, I think we should do it. It's something that we have over them.
We could. I don't know. We have enough time. If we wait till any time after tonight, I don't doubt that they'll just...
It's an hour drive. And then maybe another hour hike.
I mean, depending on where they are, it might be along the way, and even if it's not, it's worth a shot. I mean, we may as well cash in any chips we have.
We should make a few calls as well. Any other coven that might want to help.
Do we want to, since this is an aggressive act that was taken towards us and certainly nothing we started, do we want to put the 7 on alert that things may go poorly down this way?
I think we should. I don't want to start an all-out war that involves more than just this town and this coven. But we have to do
At the very
something.
least, they can, if we're preoccupied with handling the situation, they could send backup from Texas or Arizona or Colorado or to one of the covens out there to maybe assist in protecting the town while we're away.
If we're back at the bar, I was going to say tavern. If we're back at the bar. Naneshka, while they're talking, is going to go to the phone and try and contact. What was her name? The one we talked to at the funeral.
Isabel McKenzie.
Isabel McKenzie. Yeah. Try to
The
see if
hag.
she could. The hag from the.
Or
set.
Pablo would be the Hecate witch. And he used to be part of this town.
Let's do Pablo.
Would you like to spend a charm on this? To see it go favorably.
I hate you.
No, you don't. You love me.
Isn't she just the worst?
You're the worst and I love you. Yes. But favorably, as in it won't start an all-out war, but will help us, hopefully.
You managed to get Pablo on the phone, all dial up, well, round one. And you tell him everything?
I tell him that we were distracted by a pseudo contract that held a possibility of reigniting a truce again. And in the meantime, the Illuminati werewolves took the time to take hostages, incentives, as they called it.
Pablo is quiet for a long time. Those assholes. You finally hear him almost exhale on the other end of the line. It's exactly how they did it last time. Throw paperwork at you until you don't know what's right and what's wrong and what's left and what's right, and then just hit you over the head with a club.
They can't get away with it again. We can't start an all-out war.
They took people under our protection. If we play this right, if you get them, where it hurts. If you take back what's yours, if you get them to a point where they have to admit defeat, then this will be a battle, not a war. The Seven are torn on this whole issue. But I have a couple of favors I can cash in.
Thank you.
Do what you have to do. Don't let them destroy what we've built in Seer's Rest.
I won't. Trust me.
May the goddess be with you.
And also with your spirit.
God, shit! The fact you
Oh my
use
fucking
the
god, I
new
didn't expect
version-
that. Oh fuck.
Like,
So many years of Catholic private school coming back to punch me in the face.
10 years,
Thanks.
baby!
I am
Don't say that. That's just,
triggered.
I had to take it. I had to take the shot. Okay.
This
Hell,
this
Satan.
is why
Hell,
I'm
Satan.
drinking. Oh, just spilled half of it.
She doesn't say that. She just says,
And also with
I
you
hope
and
so, too.
said, like, it's not even.
Yeah. Half of the people in church say and also with you, the other half say and with your spirit.
I just say whichever one comes to mind because this change, and I don't care to really look up which one's the right one because I don't respect them that much, or at all. Sorry.
The gist of
Catholic
this, to
spirit.
bring this back on track, the gist of it is rules can be bent on both sides, and yes, you will have a supporter in Pablo, and with the spent charm, you feel confident in his words.
Okay. Neshka will relay his message to the others about calling a few favors and the conversation about getting them to meet defeat and getting back was ours. So, I suggest this is not a necessarily physical battle or magical one, but a reconnaissance mission of sorts. If we can put them down for a bit, get back our people, they have nothing. The only thing I'm afraid of is with the other route is it'll take too much time. 2 hours to get there. However long it will take us to convince the Phoenix, and then however long it'll take us to bring Aetha back. And then coming back. And then going there
Hey.
and telling them what's going on.
Hey Sylvie. Hey,
Yeah.
do you want
Yeah.
to spend the charm to be able to talk to the Phoenix from here, rather than having to drive all the way out and possibly lose something important on the way?
Oh gosh, she's trying to waste all our charms right now.
She
She
stresses me
is.
out so much.
I will give a shout out to Trooper, who I've played Fate with this season, who's made me worse. Because that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you play with
Um,
Trooper.
No, I'm not gonna spin a charm because I have a Mustang. I can get there fast.
I'm not entirely sure you understand how this shit works, but okay.
Because I would rather spin the charm to make the Phoenix actually, like, agree to help us. Like, that was my plan, not just getting it here.
Nice.
Like, I had a plan for my charm, so,
Alright, you're discussing the plan. Marcus,
sorry.
in the back of your head you hear...
Tick tock. Tick tock.
You would be here to rub it in now, wouldn't you?
No answer.
Sylvie,
Yeah.
how are we doing on that Phoenix angle?
I mean, we need to go. I was just waiting for all of you.
I'm ready to go. The clock is ticking.
And we'll keep
Is
ticking
there
on our
what?
way there.
Do we have any magic that could have us? 1 second.
What were you saying, Anishka?
It'll keep ticking on our way there and our way back. And while Marcus is asking Sylvie, how are you doing on the Phoenix? Naneshka's gonna ask TT, you got any wolfsbane?
Yeah, I could gather some. Why? What you have in mind?
Smoke bombs.
Oh, you want the fun stuff.
It won't kill them, but it'll
Yeah,
put them
I
down.
should probably be packing a whole bag.
So because we have been a little lenient with the wording of the spells, I have a crone spell, which I know will be at woe, but still. It says you will be able to spiritually cross over beyond the veil and exist there as if you were a fae or a spirit. Is there a way that I can cross into the veil in one place and come out into another place?
Sure, if you spend a charm.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You know what the fuck? Whatever, I'll spend the charm.
You know what? Fuck you.
No, sorry. Actually,
Sorry.
I'm just gonna step away for like a hot second. Okay, I apologize. I'm a little crampy. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
I think Anatu will just start as the plans are beginning to become more solidified. Anatu's just gonna start packing a bag full of just a bunch of like larceny things. She'll change into like more black attire and wear the combat boots she mentioned, and just pack a bag full of like rope, crowbars, any material components she may need in order to curse people in the way she's prepared for. And she'll hand Naneshka a sprig of wolfsbane. Well, this is gonna be dangerous.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we don't lose anybody. Not
I know.
any of us, and not anyone from the town. And I hoped so hard that she would be here with good intentions. And I guess that was stupid of me at this point, but
It wasn't. It wasn't stupid. She's just too high up on her damn pedestal.
yeah.
This is all the wolfbane we
Hmm.
have. Oh, I think he froze.
I am breaking up. Yeah.
I can hear you. Your camera's just Oh, there you
I think I might be back. Repeat that. Sorry.
are. You're back, yeah. Is this all the wolf bane you have?
No. And Anati will gather as much of it as Naneshka needs. And while she goes, she wants to knit together a flower crown of basil, columbine, and geraniums. And I want her to take the weave and sort of begin to just place it in the palm of her hand and sort of work over it clockwise until it begins to float between both of her hands and all the petals wither and sort of solidify into thorny stems. And I want to use my divination crone spell. And I want to reveal the source of an organization's power, the source of its corruption, as well as the best way to reach the source and destroy it. So I want to sort of get a magical clarification on what the best way to do what Pablo suggested is. Like, where can we hit them that will hurt in the way that's necessary?
Go for it. Roll those dice, please.
Oh God, what dice do I roll? Lord help the queen. That's how they say it. Lord help the queen. That's the saying. All
The
right.
queen is 2.
Crohn's plus. yes, in this situation. That is a 9.
That is a 9. That is mixed success. The flowers wilt and the petals fall. And where they fall, strangling vines grow. They grow in the shape of a face that you don't quite recognize. You've never seen Alistair, but you can tell from the way that face is hard, is majestic, but in a cold and cruel way, that this must be him. The face wilters, the strangling vines contract, till only a strange black, gooey mess is left. Everything seems to be pointing to Alistair.
Cut off the head of the snake.
Dee, do we have you back?
It's a really good freeze frame, though.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's so pensive.
Oh, wait.
Dee, do we have you?
Am I
Can't
back?
hear you,
Do I
though.
exist?
Oh,
Yes, I can
yes.
hear you
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. How much of the result of the spell did you hear?
Absolutely none of it.
The short of it
All
is,
signs Alistair.
all points to Alistair. He is the linchpin in this whole operation.
If we cut off the head of the snake.
Understood. Yeah, it looks like that's the way to go. I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier said than done. You know, killing an alpha werewolf on a blood moon. Sounds like it's actually gonna be pretty hard.
It sounds pretty hard, yeah. Not impossible. I mean, not to say much, but I exorcise an elder alpha werewolf from this beautiful being.
Oh, do you
She'll-
now?
Yeah. You got this, DT.
Well, then you'll have to be the shining knight because I'm not very used to offensive spells yet. So
I got you. I'm always ready to be your shining knight, DT.
and Anati will just sort of give her a side hug and rejoin the bar itself with the bag. Sit down and probably oh, well, I guess not sit down, but she'll like take any extra time she has dragging Naneshka into the kitchen to like make sandwiches for Steve or
People
all of
are.
us, I guess.
Yeah. While Naneshka was, they were out gathering supplies, Naneshka would have gathered her own. So she's strapped with a lot of knives, and she's handed some to Titi just in case. But she also has components, so the way she carries them, in my mind, she's kind of like a fan of vintage secret compartment rings. So she has a lot of them on her fingers that have just very concentrated like tinctures that she's done, either from herbs or maybe a block of condensed bone dust or any other components that she would need. She's taking a bottle from the bar of of any drink that is high in alcohol content.
You've all had minor experience in brewing potions and making tinctures. I want to almost make it a magic roll rather than a regular roll. Although, with a regular roll, are you making offensive, as in smoke bombs that would also harm, or making defensive, protective healing potions? What's the motivation there?
I think Naneshka would make something offensive, because her thinking is if we can figure out where they are at a building and we could figure out some sort of air system or even just in windows, we could start smoking out the place with Bane. It won't be enough to kill them, but enough to injure them or weaken them or even have some pass out, and it won't hurt the others, the people that are being kidnapped. But she would suggest to Titi that maybe work on something defensive.
All right. And much like a Rolodex of just flowers, Anati is just gonna like pick through her bag to just try and come up with a couple of components that will result in a more like abjurative tincture. I want to try and...
You're welcome to do both. If you want to do something more defensive, Anati, you can roll me a protect. And if you do something more offensive, as Naneshka, you can roll me an enforce will or lash out. Actually, condemn, I think. Anyway, something with severity.
Okay, it's not bad. Let's. Okay. I rolled a 9, but I have +1 severity, so that's a 10.
That's a full success.
So, real quick, just to double... just to double check. Me being in the crone aspect doesn't, like, change my stat array, correct?
No, I had,
so, like,
in this case,
my stats don't change.
because you didn't go straight after the werewolves, we kind of left the Menace chapter a little bit. So this is more of a montage where you're prepping for the thing. But yes, just a straight roll plus severity and plus mercy for you.
That is also a 10.
Sweet. So essentially, you get to make a couple of items, whatever you want to make, whatever purpose it is. Because fights in the system, for those watching, aren't exactly mechanical. This is not D&D. This is not a combat-based game, so it's all narrative. You can tell me what you have and what you think is reasonable in the time given to make. And note that down for the climax later.
I'm still thinking some sort for defensive, offensive, some sort of smoke bomb that she can kind of, almost like an incense or incense glow that she can put somewhere and the smoke would waft into the building or into any room that they're in. That she can kind of stick in different areas to make it concentrate. Like just burning
and
herb.
a knot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And Anati would like to make flower bracelets for each of the coven with clove, angelica, and let's say holly. Just like this little blend of the flowers and alternating patterns of 3 that can be worn around the wrist so that it has a lot of the just as much abjuration as I can put into the little charms. And I will walk over to Nineshka and I will actually slip her band around her wrist for them and say, don't take this off. All right?
All right. She looks like she's about to say something, and she's hesitating. And I think she thinks for a moment and just shrugs, and if you allow it, she's gonna just grab TV's face and give her a kiss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a final goodbye one, but something to look forward to. We all survive.
And Anati will say, oh, it'll be something for me to look forward to.
Hell yeah, have you seen me? I'm a knockout.
I mean, yeah, but I wrote the book, love.
We'll see about that.
So, in the private areas of the Bad Moon Rising, there's a little bit of banter going on. Maybe a little bit more. While items and potions are being made. Meanwhile, Sylvie and Marcus have been debating the Phoenix. Marcus, Phoenixes are something you've heard of a lot during your training. They exist in different cultures. They have different meanings asserted to them. But they're usually beings who respect. And they're not usually tied to a place. Potentially, together, you could call upon it from here.
I feel like if we do summon it to us, it would save a great deal of time than trying to climb a mountain and find it.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of a volcanic plug. It's not a mountain, but I understand the reasoning and agree with it. What do you have in mind?
Well, I might be able to call on it. Most cultures recognize phoenixes as spirits, and it shouldn't be any harder than calling on anything else, right?
It's not out of character. What I know if a phoenix is a fae or just not. It's not a fae. It's just a mythical creature. Yeah.
Something entirely different,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, it's something entirely different. Yeah.
The being you encountered back then with Kay Millery, you've never seen anything quite like it. It seemed like a creature older than any of the crafts, any of the stories you'd heard.
Something that has seen several lives, probably. Yeah, I will admit this is a little out of my wheelhouse, Marcus. I'm used to communing with fey creatures and the veil, and this I will have to say it was an experience, so we should probably call it somewhere with a little open space.
All right.
Maybe
I'm also
Pineap's
asking you
backyard.
to do me 2 regular rolls.
Okay.
And I think for Marcus, it would be a navigate others.
Mm-hmm.
And for Sylvie, your motivation is to ask for protection? Or to ask for
Help.
combative help?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, whatever this thing can offer us,
Mm-hmm.
Sylvie will take. So it's because she doesn't know what it can offer her.
Yeah, but ideally,
like,
are
the
you like,
yeah.
what's your mindset going into this? Protection or just for the role itself?
Yeah, we'll say protection.
Yeah, then roll me a protect with mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you roll?
3.
I got a 7 on my navigate other.
Hate to be that person again, Sylvie. Would you like to spend a
Yeah,
charm to turn this
I
into
think-
a success?
Does anyone want to pay this lady for a charm? Yeah, I will. I'll roll. I'll do. It's spin a charm to roll again, or spin a charm for a success.
For a success, you have an automatic 10 with the charm.
Yeah, I'll spend a charm to succeed because a 3 is real bad. Like, if this was the beginning of the season, I would have leaned into that failure so hard. But this is the last episode. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll lean
So-
into the success. Yeah.
You focus, both of you. The hag and Hecate, 2 incredibly powerful beings. You probably have had drunken nights where you joked about who could beat up who. Not today. Today is pure focus, pure cooperation, the Coven coming together.
Mm-hmm.
You hold hands and you feel each other's powers. You feel each other's energy surging through each other, mixing up until you barely know what's what and who's who. A glimpse, only a brief glimpse, behind the curtain of cultures, of names, of deities, of beings, and just to that one energy that sustains everything. And you open your eyes, and you look around, and it is bright day. Noon, with the sun up high. Sylvie, you're looking around. You are suddenly standing on that volcanic plug, just like you did back then.
Yeah.
You see the sun growing bigger and bigger, brighter and brighter, until it is expanding to gigantic wings made from sunlight itself. It is too bright almost to look at it. Both your eyes hurt, but it's not pain. Not in the state you're in. There is no pain. There is just awe. Pure awe at this creature that descends to heed your call.
I'm gonna give a little nudge to Marcus. If he's there.
He kind of like looks back
because-
like, wow, it actually worked.
I know, but at the same time, like, yo, we're practically in the presence of a god. Like, so,
And at that, he probably remembers like manners and will bow to the phoenix. Like, I don't know what we do to a phoenix. It's like, greetings, great and powerful phoenix.
I just wave at it. like, hi again. Like, this is not the first time I've talked to it, but Kai and Milleray kind of took the lead on it last time, so Sylvia's like, sorry to disturb you once again. But we need your help.
Speak.
There is a clan of lycanthropes, werewolves associated with a group known as the Illuminati, who have taken members of my coven, of my town, people that I'm sworn to protect, to keep alive, from... They have broken a truce. They plan on using our friends in a sacrifice ritual tonight, for the blood moon, and I don't know if you have anything to offer. I don't know if you want to offer anything, but I am here begging
We
you.
are asking for help. They plan to do great evil and great harm.
Is there anything?
Evil. Good. Such human concepts. The land will forget the blood spilled upon it. Humans will forget. A generation or two. I feel your sorrow. Your fear. I feel the threat upon the land. I will protect. You feel warmth, heat.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you. As a burning feather descends between the two of you. 1 feather. I will
It's a
protect.
phoenix down.
I was trying not to say
I'm
it.
sorry. I couldn't not. It's a phoenix down. Why?
You only get
I'm
one.
sorry. Yeah.
You're not entirely sure what the feather does. You're not entirely sure if there's any stipulations. You're not entirely sure what this being could mean exactly. But you are sure that floating between you is something, a mote of energy that can be called upon for a specific situation.
Can I make a roll to figure out that situation?
When the situation presents itself, yes.
Okay.
Not now.
It's gonna be like Marvel Endgame with Doctor Strange holding up his finger. Like, I'm not here for this. Like, okay. Is
there anything
can we
else
touch
you
the
want to?
feather? Yeah, I'm
Yes.
assuming we can pick up the feather. I'm assuming it's large. Like, how big is this thing?
It's an eagle feather, looks like, but still burning.
Okay.
Warm to the touch, ever burning.
All right, I have the feather in one hand, and I'll take Marcus's hand in the other, and I'll look up at the phoenix and thank you. And magic back.
You let go of Marcus's
Val-
hand.
Mhm.
We saw that, D. You let go.
Sorry, I bored you.
The feather is still there as you let go of Marcus's hand and everything comes back into focus. The light is gone. It is, again, back to that early evening shimmer. Where the sun once was is now, again, the blood moon.
Mhm. We should find the others and see if Pino knows where they were taking it. I'm gonna give Marcus's hand like a squeeze. So look, like before I let it go. We can do this together.
Of course we can. Because we have to.
You're back at the Bad Moon Rising, all 4 of you. A feather, potions, the wreaths. And we are going to take a teensy-tiny break for some bio situations. I'm not entirely sure why I made this sound really strange and much stranger than necessary, but here we are. So, yeah, while we are gone, do make sure to check out the retweet link that I'll be putting in chat again to give our witches that little bit of a boon they will use for the fight, hopefully. And we'll be back in just 10 minutes. Thank you very much. See you in a bit.
Thank you.
we are back from a little break with the Coven, who have just prepared in a montage chapter for the upcoming confrontation and the conflict coming to a climax with the werewolf in the service of the Illuminati. We have a couple of potions, we have a couple of charms. Anati and Anishka, were you wanting to give people something now, or keeping it for the fight later on?
Yes, Anatu will give both Marcus and Sylvie their flower bracelets, the wreaths, to wear around the wrist.
Nanashka would have made enough to give at least one to each, and maybe a few extra. To just place them where they see fit. So, and let them know it's not gonna kill them. It's not gonna help you in a immediate situation, but giving them enough seconds to minutes to breathe it in will hopefully quote unquote poison them enough for them to get weak or pass out.
And the bracelets, they're a combination of a lot of different protective flowers that should help ward off at least a couple of spells, depending on how powerful they are. If you see the flowers and the petals start to wilt, that means that it's running out of juice, so you'll want to be more careful. I don't know how powerful the threats will be, or how many of them there'll be, but it's better than nothing.
Thank you. And we were also successful, I think. And I'm gonna show them the burning feather. Not sure what it does, but it was gifted to us for a certain
That's a big
situation.
feather.
It was, yeah.
Proud of
I
you.
don't
You'll
even
do
know if
good.
it'll be there once this is done. But we can do this. Let's save our
Got
people.
this. Fuck yeah.
Eventually, Pino returns. Takes a few hours, but he does come back. He's sweaty, he's filthy, and he's angry. So pretty hot, all in all. But he's been successful. I found them, he growls. Bastards are holed up in the canyon. And you know, there's a geological area in one of the sections of the nature reservoir in the back. Back, like it's in the garden, but in the less populated area,
in the back country.
Yeah. That has one of these really, really narrow ravines. Beautiful for stargazing, quite popular with landscape photographers. Because on certain days and certain nights, the moon lines up beautiful with a large column where this ravine widens a little bit and the canyon widens a little bit. Canyons are bigger things. Yeah. But, you know, it's been used as a ritual ground for many centuries, partly by the Coven, partly by some of the native peoples in the area. And given what you know of the werewolves, what Pino has told you about turning people, power, yeah, this seems like a natural spot for them.
I'm gonna walk over to Pino and I'm going to place my hands on his forearms, and they'll sort of run down before grasping his hands. I'm looking up at him. Thank you. We couldn't do this without you.
He pulls you into a very tight hug and kisses your head. It's very unusual for you to have someone be taller.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a strange feeling. When, for a long time, partly your status within the Coven, partly who you are as a person, and honestly, partly being taller than everyone else, is always kind of making you the default protector when it comes to physical intimacy as well.
Mm-hmm.
For a moment, you sink into it because you need to.
Yeah. She's a little flushed. Okay. Let's go, team.
I can come with you guys if you want me to.
I absolutely want you to.
Be careful. There might
This
be
is-
a bit of wolf bangs.
Gives you really bad diarrhea.
Good.
Yeah. I'll stay away from that. Nobody needs to see that. And he stretches and heads over to the other room, to the bar where many of the townspeople are squeezed in. Some of them helping themselves. Many, of course, making sure that not too much is taken because they know it's an emergency situation. Cass, in particular, has been quite helpful, keeping them all under wraps and making sure that there's no panic, answering questions as best as he can. He pokes his head through the door. So you have a plan?
The closest thing to one, yeah.
Is it a plan, or is it a let's see what happens plan? Because I've made many of those, and let me tell you, they don't always end well.
It's a plan.
Fuck around and find out kind of plan. I mean, unless you all made a plan while we were off talking to the Phoenix.
No,
What happened?
I was just trying to be confident. But it is very much a fuck around and find out kind of plan.
Yeah, but we are a coven. We are some of the strongest entities on the planet when we work together. It's why Maiden was so obtuse and so faked concern to the point where she tried to cast doubt upon our faith in each other, my faith in all of you, but she has failed. I believe in all of you, and I trust all of you. And I say this also like looking at Pino for a moment.
Pino smiles, but doesn't say anything. He knows this is not his moment, but he's grateful that you included him. Cass, meanwhile, has no such problems with being in the middle of the showline. Well, that's good to hear. See, where I come from, when we threw ourselves into battle, there was a tradition of a goodbye kiss. Who wants one?
Obviously. Come here.
I feel like he's being serious.
Oh, he is serious. He strides up to Anati, bends down because Anati is tiny, takes your face between his hands, and plants one on your lips. Good luck, little one.
Naneshka's gonna take him and dip him and kiss him.
Yeah.
He doesn't see it coming. There's a very slightly girlish woo when you do it.
It's one of
And
those like it
he's
lasts for a few seconds type of kiss. Yeah.
he's getting into he's just getting into it. Like he overcomes the moment of what the it's Naneshka, and then it's not a mwah, it's getting into a proper makeout session if you let him.
It'll start there, and then she'll pull him up and settle him down on his feet.
Marcus
I need a
would
fainting
slide
touch.
in next and give him the mwah real quick and keep going.
Is it slightly awkward?
No, it's
No.
very much the contrast between the almost make out to just the very light friendly peck. So he just does the friendly peck and keeps moving.
Nice.
If at any point he turns to Sylvie for one, she's just gonna go, ew, no.
Fair enough. 3 out of 4 is not too bad. Still got it. I'll be holding down the fort, and naturally, I will, what's the technical term? Fuck up everyone who tries to get in here. Unless you'd rather I join you in battle, die a glorious death. I mean, win a glorious victory.
If you die, there won't be more where that came from.
I have found a will to live! And he saunters off with a wink into the bar.
She'll wink back at him.
He's
Still
undead,
got it.
though. He doesn't live.
He has a life to live.
He screams back, "It was a metaphor!" Very good hearing.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Pino. Don't use metaphors around me. They go over my head, please.
Thumbs up comes back from the bar door. Alright. So Pino is with you. Cass is taking care of everyone around here.
I'm going to look at the others and I'll be like, how subtle do we want to be on our approach?
We'll want to be subtle.
Do we need a
we
not
don't-
subtle distraction?
Naneshka's just gonna look to Pino. I mean, when have you ever known him to be subtle?
Well, I was thinking more of me.
Hmm. Okay. Method acting.
I was
Naneshka's eating
thinking
something
of-
in the kitchen.
I was perhaps going to turn the lot of you invisible so that you could sneak in while I make an very loud appearance.
Okay.
Might be a good
Ex-
time for us to chuck the wolf's bane if we're gonna be invisible when we get in there.
Yeah. I could probably light a few things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Sounds like we've got something resembling a plan.
The ravine, Pino says, it's very hard to scale the walls. You can either come from one end or from the other. It's hard to get through unseen. Invisibly, you've got a chance. Although they might smell you.
All
But
right,
it
the
also
werewolves.
means we got a good chance of kettling them in with a wolf's bane.
That is
Very
wanna
particularly,
concentrate.
my mother's spell, my blessing spell, says that they'll be invisible to anyone that wishes to find or harm them when they don't want to be found. So even if, I think maybe even if they're using their sense of smell, because it is the veil that's making them invisible, it will be hard for them to be detected.
Yeah, that
Um,
will actually do it. Perfect. All right. Are we heading to the ravine?
Naneshka's gonna give Sylvie 2 smoke bombs just in case.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I, for the sake of cinematic flair, because I do want to cast my mother's spell, but whatever fey creatures still kind of are hanging around, I was wondering if they could get my car into the ravine so that I could drive up very loudly to them with incredibly loud music.
Okay.
What's the worst that could happen?
So much. Don't say that.
So much.
Or
Here's-
You don't
have
have much
so many
arm
things.
anymore.
The ravine is fairly
I don't.
narrow, like I said, and fairly uneven. But here's what you could do as a compromise,
Yes.
if
Yes,
you want
okay.
to.
Okay.
You've seen Thelma and Louise, right?
Yes.
What you could do, it's not certain death, it's not that deep, but it is dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. You could sacrifice that car, because that will be banged up to
Oh, yeah.
fuck. And
It's a 65.
Drive.
It's like a 65 Mustang. It's got a roll cage in it. She it's fine. We'll be fine. Like-
don't do this at home, kids.
oh, don't do this. At
Yeah,
home.
you can sail
Yeah.
into the whole congregation and plant, like, flanch down onto them all.
That would also block that entrance, so that's good.
Ew.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. If you want to land right in the center, you'll probably want to check with someone whether the hostages aren't right in the center, and you'll flatten them. But if you want to use it to, like, you block off one end, that's totally cool. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah. Can I kind of want to get my friends close enough to cast my spell first on them, and I need to roll, right?
Yeah. So we're heading through to the area led by Pino, who is a very good guide.
Mm-hmm.
The sun has now set, and you
Mm-hmm.
see the moon red, bright, illuminating in a weird light, in a weird way. You've seen blood moons before. They do come around every now and then. There's no rhythm to them at all. Some decades have them, some don't. But this one is different. This one is laden, filled with energy, and you can feel it. You can feel Pino, Sylvie in particular. You can feel Pino a little bit more restless and a little bit more aggressive than possibly usual. So as he takes you there,
Mm-hmm.
he finds a safe way to approach. He tells whoever wants to, this is the way down. Be careful. Don't loosen any stones. They'll hear it. It echoes down there. Are you going to be alone in the car, or are you doing 2-2?
If Pino wants to come with me, he's allowed to come with me.
Of course I'll come with you.
Thanks. I have a perfect song for this. And cast my spell on my friends. So, just to make sure I get that
Alright.
going. This is my mother blessing. Oh, that is
Mhm.
excellent. That is a 10.
Perfect. You cast the spell, and you all feel a warm cloak almost placed upon you. Warm. And you do still see each other, but only when you really, really focus. There's a shimmer to it, a fey glitter. And your eyes want to look away. But you can still talk, you can still communicate with each other. You know each other, you are part of the Coven.
Everybody be careful, and we'll see each other on the other side of this.
And don't die, or I'll bring your ghost back to make you haunt us.
You act like I wasn't gonna haunt you guys already.
Pretty much, yeah.
Haunting
Let's
sounds
smoke out some more
exhausting. I
wolves.
plan on not haunting any of you, but instead
Sounds
resting.
fun.
But also, you have permission to reincarnate me.
Duly noted, love.
Really need it.
Alright,
Let's go
so
smoke out some
are
wolves.
you approaching Smoke Out and waiting for the car to drop? Or what's the exact sequence here?
My idea, when I thought about it, like, and anyone can disagree, was Sylvie's the distraction, blocks them out. Their attention is on her, so we'll come in from the back once that's happening, and then start smoking them out.
Very specifically, Sylvia will tell you that part of her distraction is for her to get in there, and once she gets out the car, is essentially demand a witch off with Madeline for being such a slimy little snake. So that'll be essentially your
Alright.
cue. Yeah.
Alright. We'll be starting then with Sylvie and head over to the scene with the other three. Sylvie. The car was brought here by magical means that I'm not going to go into too great detail in, but you owe some fae a huge favor.
Yes.
And there is an area where you can look over the edge to see roughly where you're going to go. You and Pino, you see wolves, you see hybrid forms, and you see one human. Dressed impeccably. White hair, a white beard, well coiffed. He is idly chatting away with everyone. He is nodding to some of the wolves that run around, that howl. He is standing towards the area where you will land with your car. And that one column, the one that is so popular with photographers, tied to the column in a circle, are your friends. It's hard to see from up here in the dark, although the moon gives you a little bit of light. There is no artificial fire. But there is Stella, proper beat up and bloodied. Rolf, very scared. Leia, also tied up, looking down, crying. And of course Jake. Jake looks bad. Jake looks in quite a horrible shape. You see a wound, barely dressed, running from his shoulder down his torso. You don't hear what's being said down there. But Alistair is quite content with himself.
Well, this contentment's about to end real soon. Sylvia is going to walk back to where the car is parked, get into the driver's seat, hopefully joined in the passengers by Pino, and she's gonna look over at him and go, "Do you believe in Valhalla?" And I'm going to crank up my car, rev the engine as Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song comes on. So we're not sure what the wolves hear first, but it isn't content. As I go full god on 60 seconds here, and because I am driving an Eleanor, that I very specifically picked that one, and gonna gun it. And as I fly across the ravine, as I'm just listening to the song right now. It's beautiful. Everyone, the links in chat. I will, and it lands and sort of bounces a bit, but the tail will skirt and slide as I like brake. My hand might hit if you're not wearing your seatbelt on top of the car, because you know we're some tall peoples, and it'll slide, and I will steer it and control it in a way that my driver's side faces towards this group. Take a moment, huff, undo my seatbelt, dramatically open my door and stand up and just feel like, I'm here for Madeline. I have a bone to pick with her.
And behind you, just in the rhythm of the song, and you know which part. The song's still playing. For some reason, the car's totaled, but the music's still playing.
Oh, yeah.
You just hear a very supportive...
I love it. Valhalla calls. Let's go.
And
like,
with that sentence, we see where the other three are at this point. You are making your way down into the ravine, invisible, and you two see the situation. You see, more so than Val, just how many wolves are hiding in the shadows, in little alcoves almost that cannot be seen from above. You smell wet fur, you smell blood, old and new, stale and fresh. And you two see the column from your entrance point of the ravine. It lines up with the blood moon. And you see them broken, bloodied, crying. Jake is facing you, Marcus. His head rolling, his eyes bright white in the dark. Tick tock. Tick tock.
Can I see how much is left on his timer?
22 minutes and 13 seconds.
Not long. Just for his own sake, what time would it be in 22 minutes? I have an idea, but just to have it out loud.
And what's your idea? I'm happy to work with you on that if it's cool.
Well, it's like evening time, isn't it? It's...
Yeah. It is night. Not even evening
Yeah.
at this point, night.
So I feel like the obvious answer would be it's clicking towards the witching hour, and so at that stroke, it would be time for it to happen.
Yeah.
And so that when that ominous realization is just like, we've got 22 minutes until this all happens.
Got it. Smoke them out. TT.
And at that point...
But
Sorry, finish.
she's gonna instruct Marcus and TT to kind of like, after the smoke bombs go off, to help the captives. And if possible, and the invisibility still up, she wants to sneak up on Alistair when he's distracted with Sylvie.
All right. Because you two are heading through the wolves at this point, and you have passed a couple, again, for a moment, their eyes trying to focus on you and then just gliding off you. But because Alistair is a different beast altogether. Slightly unusual, but I want an enforce will. Essentially, this is almost like a how strong is your magic to hold on to not just the invisibility, but to force your way through without being in any way, shape, or form detected. So, Naneshka, if you want to roll that. And because of the invisibility, I'll give you a wheel.
Oh, thank God. Aren't you the most gracious DM? Enforce
Aren't you
will.
sucking up just now?
Just a little bit, don't worry. Okay. Okay, thank God. One of those was a 1. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1 severity. Thank God I took the 1 severity. It's 10.
And without a problem, you make your way through. Now, where is everyone wanting to be for this scene when Sylvie comes sailing down with her big entrance? You and Aneshka want to be behind Alistair, you say?
Yeah.
Marcus, what about you?
I'm torn on where he wants to be, because he's also in like pure attack mode with the crone, but he also is so close to rescuing Jake. It's kind of a toss-up on where I want to be. I think I'm going to roll for it too. That's how we decided things earlier.
Or you could take
Or?
a charm for not being with Jake.
Yeah, I could. I think I'm going to take that charm purely on the selfish reason that it was offered at the same time that the roll came up saying that I was going to go ambush Alistair, so I'll take it. We could use it later, guys. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
Oh,
I think it'll be
God.
fine.
I think he's going to
Worry.
be on like be able to hit Alistair from the opposite side of Naneshka so that the two of them could double team him.
Nice. And TT, where are you wanting to be?
I'm going to be trying get a good angle on where the townsfolk are going to be, and I'm gonna focus on getting people out.
Wonderful. So I'm bringing everyone back because at this point, as you put yourself into position, as you maneuver yourself into position, you hear the revving engine and all the wolves simultaneously looking around, looking up, no matter in which form they are, they hear it as the music starts blaring and Sylvie's car comes crashing down. Sylvie gets out of the car, What was your line again? You want to speak to Madeline, you said? Oh, you muted there. Muted.
I'm here for Madeline. I have a bone to pick with her.
That throwback, I love it.
Yeah. The music is still playing. It's not on repeat because it doesn't exist yet. But she is a pretty good mixtape. So those do exist.
You know, Alistair, as smooth and as suave as he is, you can't just crash land a car in front of someone, even a fucking werewolf, and they don't flinch, at least a little bit.
Right?
Alistair stumbles back as the car comes crashing down, and when you get out with Pino behind you in a hybrid form, claws crashing into the car door, just through the metal like it's butter, a howl towards the wolf moon. Alistair is taken aback. He straightens himself up, he smiles. Madeline. I take it the contract was not signed then. What a surprise.
You honestly expect it to be signed after this bullshit?
I
Even
didn't
if there
expect
was
it
a
to be signed
consideration.
before this bullshit. And he turns around, and as he turns around towards the people tied up to the column, he shifts into hybrid form.
Mhm.
Kill them all.
Smoke bomb, baby.
Yeah. Definitely gonna. I think that I'm gonna wait on my spit bombs for a hot second, but y'all go ahead and throw yours.
Is it
Naneshka,
Naneshka and Marcus?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
mostly throwing it at Alistair or at all the wolves there? There's a couple of them. Good amount of them.
I wanted to focus mine on Alistair, hoping Marcus and TT would focus there on the other wolves, because he seems to, since he's the alpha wolf.
I can throw it once nearby.
Yeah. What Naneshka wanted to do and what I wanted to do, instead of just lighting them on fire, throwing them, she was actually gonna hold one in each hand, and just light up her hands in his face. So it's a concentrated smoke of wolfsbane.
Amazing. Roll me a lash out.
Okay, I got this. She's violent. We got this.
Boy.
Jesus Christ.
You got this.
I'm just hoping my luck hasn't run out.
You got this.
Lash out is Verity. 9.
That's halfway there. He doesn't expect you. And the smoke and the fire, it turns, there's a yelp coming from him at first as he realizes that you've already infiltrated everything. He screams and he tries to push you away. There's more werewolves coming, and you realize they're fast. So while you have Alistair, and he is suffering under your spell and under your smoke bombs, a split second, maybe 2, and you'll be attacked. Marcus, what are you doing?
Is this after we've thrown the smoke bomb, or do I need to roll for that still?
No, you don't need to roll for them. They, just if you want something specific. You need to roll for them when it's something specific as Alistair, but when you just throw them into the crowds to thin them out, that's fine.
Okay. Then I would like... Can I put up like a magical barrier to kind of slow them down or hinder them from reaching us?
Do you have something in your spells like this?
I might. It seems like my connection has been interrupting a few things, so let me see once the book reloads.
You should have the sheet, the individual sheet as well.
Yeah. Let's see here. As I say, I have everything on Google Docs, so it's just like it looped out on me.
Ah, gotcha. Feel free to take a look, and we can go to Anati and see what you're doing as this is
come
happening.
back to me while I look.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anati is going to chuck her Wolfsbane bomb on the group of werewolves, and will then reluctantly fight the urge to go help Naneshka, and will run to the citizens, townsfolks.
On Alistair's command, a couple of werewolves were ready to jump at the throat of the hostages. Your bombs thrown right in front of them start forming, almost like a smoke wall, and you get some time to start trying to undo the ropes. You notice Jake is coming in and out of consciousness at this point. Rolf seems fine. Anati, jeez, God, thank God you're here.
Yeah, we're gonna get you all out of here.
Okay. Where do we go? And he looks around at the various werewolves.
It's a great question. I will just point him back the way that we came from, because at the very least we know that that's relatively clear. So, I will pick him up. Anati will take off her protective flower bracelet and put it in Rolf's hand and say, "You put this in front of anything that tries to get in between you and the way up and out of this ravine. You understand me? And watch Jake.
Yeah,
Make sure he's... Keep Jake close."
Rolf starts trying to... He almost has to carry Jake. Leia is immediately trying to hug you. She's been crying. She's absolutely beside herself. Stella is ready to fuck someone up. Stella's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. If I fuck off this mortal coil today, I'm going to take one of these beasts with me.
All right, just keep that energy the whole time, if you will. And Anati's going to take the twisted thorn root, or not roots, but the stems that she used for the divination spell earlier, and she's going to put on the thorn crown, sort of, instead of where she would normally wear a headband.
Is that coming with a spell, or
Yeah.
just pretty fucking cool flavor?
If I can do a spell as well, then yeah. I would like to use my my curse from the crone. The subject will be harmed or killed by those they control, abuse, or exploit. I would wager that Anati counts as someone the Illuminati has controlled, abused, or exploited.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's see. That wasn't good, gamers. That is a 6.
A 6 is just not enough. Do you have a charm to spend?
I do. Do I use it right now?
It's finale time. Use it. No? Okay.
I'm gonna hold on to it. Yeah, not for this roll.
Okay.
That means I get to make a hard move against you.
Yeah.
As the spell is starting to work its magic, as the crowns dig into your skin and you feel a little bit of blood trickling down your temple, ready to sacrifice a little bit of that life force to make them pay. There is one werewolf who manages to jump through the smoke screen and right at you just before you finish working that spell. Just before it takes full hold, you feel a pain in your hand as it tears you to the ground, and you can all hear Anati screaming. Marcus, do you have...
Yes, I am ready now.
Spell.
I would also like to use my Crone Curse for Hecate, and it says the subject will decay, but their life force will remain. They become zombies in a perpetual state of rot and hunger. So I would like to zombify as many of these werewolves as I can, and then unleash the zombies onto their pack.
Good call. I love it.
Holy hot
Ooh.
damn, that is a curse. My word.
Roll me that curse, and depending on what you roll, I'll give you an amount of werewolves.
Okay. So I have 9.
Yeah. That is a success with slight unintended consequences. How mean am I
What's
gonna
the
be?
worst that could happen was zombies, right?
Yeah.
If I
You
use
really
the
need to
charm,
stop
can
saying
I
that
can I
with
bump
those
it up to the
words.
10?
Sorry, what were you saying, Rin?
Would the charm bump it up to 10? Or is it just a reroll?
Yeah. No, the charm would give you an auto success for this.
Let's bump
I'm
it
gonna
up.
be
I
nice.
don't want the zombies to start biting people we love.
Yeah. I'm just also double checking for the milestone chapter. Players choose aspect. Yeah, magic is cast normal. Do you get any positives from that? We'll figure that out in a second. You do cast a wave of necrotic energy at the wolves, and it's gruesome to watch as they decay in front of all of your eyes. About 10 wolves out of the roughly 24 that are around, just rotting, fur dropping down, skin and bone revealed, but they don't stop moving. Instead, they start attacking everything in their wake, friend and foe alike. They don't work for you. That's the unintended consequences. They just don't differentiate. And Sylvie, you are a little bit banged up. You just got out of the car. You had the conversation with Alistair when the fight erupted. What do you do?
Yeah. So, hey, guess what? When I casted that veil, guess what I did? I advanced in my mother. And I decided I'm going to take the curse from the spider mother, and I'm going to cast that curse on Alistair. And this curse...
What is that curse?
Let's read. Let us read. This curse. No one will listen to the subject, abide to their wisdom, or take them seriously. No matter their behavior or action, they will be viewed as a fool by those around them, and in particular, those they admire. So,
Okay, roll me that magic.
Whoever is still sane, don't, it's plus severity.
Mm-hmm.
So my severity right now is it's a 0, but it's still a 10.
Absolutely. That spell takes hold as Alistair is severely distracted by the brilliant plan of having both Nanishka and Marcus there to immediately fuck him up as soon as he tries something. He tried something. The spell takes hold, and it's subtle. It's a lot more subtle than you'd think. You know it worked. You know you have almost like an invisible leash around him. And as he goes, kill them! Kill them! Turning into that hybrid form, pushing away Naneshka, more and more wolves coming. The wolves are still angry and they're still ready to fight. But they don't seem to go quite after who he thinks they should go after. There's a moment of confusion there. Does the spell give you new control, or does it just... Are they not believed? Are they not...
Yeah, they're viewed as a fool. Like, whoever, like... It doesn't say that it gives me control if you want to... But what I was thinking is maybe take advantage of this moment of them in confusion from the spell to call out to these confused wolves. And it's like, your leader has brought you here only to die in sacrifice and in vain. Look at him as he flails around. He never cared for you.
And he is flailing. He's flailing at Naneshka to try and get her hands out of his face. He's flailing at a zombie wolf that is now biting his leg. He did not expect any of this to go down quite like it did.
Is that something or someone that is worthy of such an admirable pack of wolves as you are? And I would like to perhaps do a befriend roll.
A befriend
that's
roll?
Cool. Yeah.
I think in this particular situation, befriend won't really cut it because
or maybe
it's not a friendly situation, but...
What about rally?
Yes, exactly. A rally or make a stand.
I would get definitely, because I'm an aspect of the mother, would get more with make a stand, so I'll probably do make a stand. Like, I'm making a stand, it's like, we'll take this. If you want to fight us, we will take it to the end. But look at who brought you here. Is he worth any of this, essentially? Alright. Make a stand.
We'll move that into basically your next turn, because it's 2 rolls, but it's not super strict, so just roll me that.
I rolled a 9 plus 3, so that's a 12.
That is a brilliant success.
Yeah, listen, my extra life dice love me. Like, I'm not gonna deny this. Like, we'll just
tell me how
a nice little 9. Yeah.
Tell me how it works out. Tell me what the wolves are doing. The zombie wolves are out of everyone's control just now, but from the hesitation of the others, they're now listening to you. How do they react? Pino is behind you as well, sort of a protector for you in particular.
I think that they look at Alistair flailing around, and they sort of maybe something pings in the back of their head, something he said once before, as he doesn't seem to be doing anything to necessarily protect his pack from spells, because they got turned into zombies. Like, he is not here for them for any reason. Whatever this ritual is for is selfish. And lone wolves are selfish. Pack leaders are selfish. Pack leaders are not selfish. The alpha is not selfish. The alpha looks out for the pack. And in that moment, the remaining wolves decide, fuck this. And they're gonna leave.
One by one, the wolves hesitating, looking around. One by one, a howl erupts from each. Left, right, the back of the ravine. All those that see Alistair, and now see him for what and who he is. Just a power-hungry piece of shit. And they leave. They hesitate a little bit as they walk past you. Some jumping over the car to get out that way. Is anyone doing anything to stop them? And they
No,
jump
but I would like to do my own curse.
across the hood. What's your curse, Anishka?
So, I'm hoping that you let me put a caveat on this curse, even though it's not in the rules because of thematic reasons.
All right.
So, there is a curse from the Maiden that says the subject spirit is condemned while the curse is in effect, and all harm they do returns threefold. Can I put the caveat in retroactively? Like in their contract.
It's petty and I'm here for it.
It's so petty. Yeah.
Roll.
So, as the smoke bombs are in his face, she'll kind of almost like push him away with the smoke, and she's going to take out two knives that she had right behind her back, and she's gonna flip them and just stab them right underneath the rib cage. She knows it's not enough to kill him, but to anyone that would be watching, there is a ghostly figure of snakes coming down her arms and into the knives and into him.
Ooh.
And and because that is plus severity, that is a 12. I rolled a 5 and a 6.
Tell me how that works out, how that succeeds.
I asked the ghostly snakes that glow slightly like purplish bluish fire. They kind of seep into him. I want all the wounds, both physical and mental and spiritual, that he's ever put onto anyone to appear on him, all the way back to him killing the elder. Threefold.
And it goes back in time. The first wound, 3 claw marks across his cheek, similar to the claw marks on Jake's cheek. You see wounds opening up all over his body. You see his arm breaking. You see his face contorting, screaming pain. And then you smell the fire. That half-burnt skull of the elder. You see half his face burning away, and he falls to his knees.
I want her to push him back with her foot to the ground.
And he drops. The wolves are gone, and Alistair, whimpering on the floor. The zombie werewolves. Some chase after the wolves leaving. Some are still here. And Anati, you see one run past you. Run after. Run after your friends.
No, thank you. I want to catch him. I want to grab that one's attention. I don't think I have a spell for it, so let's say with a rock, if I can find like a stone to chuck. Just go, hey fucker!
Roll me a lash out.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's in severity.
It is. I rolled really poorly. You know what? That one I'll use my charm on. Charm's a reroll, right?
Charm's usually also just a auto success here.
Okay, yeah,
10,
because I
and you
rolled
get
a
to
3 and a
tell
1,
the outcome.
so
Yeah.
dope.
10, and you get to tell me what happens.
So I want the werewolf to stop in its tracks, and any why are you doing this, D? Any wolves who had their eyes set on the people leaving the ravine, I want them to be focused on Anati.
All right.
I want to essentially like get just any of them that are like trying to still run down the townsfolk.
Yeah. The regular wolves have left at this point, but it is 2 or 3 zombie ones that are still after the townsfolk, and the stone hits one of them, who then almost bumps into one of the others, and they turn around and just focus on the next best moving thing, which happens to be Anati. Stella is still here. And Stella is angry. The werewolves jumping up to you just as they leap to fly in your face. A roar of an angry young vampire who hasn't really been allowed to kill anything in a while erupts. It's not pretty what she does to them. It's nightmare-inducing. Or pretty hot, depending on where you stand in that equation. She catches one of the wolves out of thin air and tears limb after limb from the creature. It's a fairly easy thing to do, given that they're half rotten already. They're not smart either. They keep fighting. They're not too strong in their current state. So she gets one by one by one. And she's having the time of her life. Marcus, you feel that necrotic energy ebbing. The zombies that you weren't quite able to control. They're eliminated. And you come to from your anger, from your need to fight and to end this. And you remember. How long did this fight take? This whole endeavor? It seemed like just a minute or two. But fights always seem just a minute or two. When in reality, it's probably more like 20. You look around, you don't see Jake.
TT, where did they go?
Back towards where we came from. Up and out of the ravine.
He's gonna quick thanks and just book it in that direction.
You run. You run past your Coven members. You run past dead wolves, zombie wolves, and a twitching Alistair still not quite gone. You run, and you find them quite soon. They didn't make it very far. Not in Jake's state. You see Rolf trying to pick Jake back up, trying to slap his face.
Time's over.
No, it can't be.
The clock says 0.
This isn't fair.
Rolf looks at you, shakes his head.
What?
I don't know. I can't. He's not breathing. I don't.
What if instead, take me? His clock was tampered with. It wasn't supposed to go down this quickly. If you're trying to punish me, you can take me instead.
Next to Jake, next to Rolf, and next to Leia is a person you know to be Death. They have worn many faces. What face are they wearing now?
I think they're wearing Jake's face.
Jake smiles. They're no longer bloodied. They're no longer half broken. They smile at you just like they did that night in your apartment. He's at peace now. Is that not a good thing?
Not when he's taken too soon.
Who decides that? You?
He shouldn't have had his clock moved. There shouldn't have been interference with it. He was protected. He shouldn't have been here.
The clocks never lie. They move when things change. We
But
move.
they can change. They should be able to change back. And what's one life for another? If you need to collect a soul, take mine.
Do you want to be at peace so badly?
I want him to live.
If you consider yourself Lord of Death, the price is more than your soul. This is a mantle you take on. Are you ready for it?
That's what this has been. You've been waiting for this moment to spring a job interview on me. Fine. All right, I'll do it. But he needs to live a long life for this.
He will. And so will you. Because you have so much more to learn before you have what it takes. Learn it all. Take it all in. Life and death are not enemies. Death steps forward. And as they do, they turn into a face. A face you always hate them for wearing. The kind eyes of a mother looking at you, stroking your cheek. Placing a hand onto your chest above your heart, where it's warm. And in your breast pocket, that warmth lingers when they take their hand away. And you're back, just Jake in front of you, lifeless. Leia and Rolf, distraught. It's the same warmth you felt when you were in the presence of the Phoenix. And in your pocket, the feather glows.
Marcus is gonna take the feather and walk over. Step back. I don't know what will happen when I try this.
Your coven joins you. They ran after you as soon as they realized what was happening, as soon as they realized there was no more threat to neutralize here. And you all see Marcus bending down over Jake's lifeless body.
Naneshka's gonna put a hand on his shoulder and squeeze.
I have to try, right?
You do what you have to do. We're here for you.
He'll take the feather and set it on Jake's chest.
The feather glows and melts. Melts into his chest and starts rising slowly and falling slowly. Wounds healing up. Still blood all over, but that glowing light knits up miraculously and he opens his eyes. eyes still strangely glowing. Marcus.
Jake. And he'll hug him, probably too tightly for somebody who just died.
Alright. How?
Sorry.
Okay. You're okay. Are we okay? Is everyone okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah. He stands up and feeling good. Ooh. Why is everyone looking at me?
You died.
Also, your eyes are glowing.
You weren't bitten,
Looks rad
were
as
you?
fuck.
Yeah.
What? Am I still dead?
No,
No,
no.
not dead anymore.
Good, because if this were heaven, I don't know what... I mean, no offense, but... not one of my kinks.
Jake,
Yeah?
I'm so glad you were alive.
Me too.
Because my car... Am I muted? Oh no. I'm so glad that you're alive. Because... there's a lot of cosmetic damage on my car.
I don't think the Phoenix Down would have worked on your car.
I know. Which is why I'm glad
No,
we
but-
used it on Jake. He is the mechanic.
Jake can work on the car.
You'll have to
Maybe
explain
after like a
things to me.
vacation.
Yeah. I like to think that the camera is starting to pan out. Slowly. And then just as it's at that point where only the moon and a little bit of the forest and the ravine is visible, you hear, "What the fuck did you do to that car?" And that's when the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, what's our end credit song? Hold on.
No.
I have to think.
It's
Hold on, let me look.
it's under it's an immigrant song all over again.
Or it's some good old Fleetwood Mac as well, because we do have
Sisters of the Moon.
it's probably like, or it could be Dream On by Aerosmith. There we go.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Now, as every good film, and I hope that's okay with you, we are on time, but if anyone has to run, let me know. Nope.
I
I'm good.
will have to run. I gotta jump over to Diesel Shots at 8:30. So.
Gotcha. Oh, do you? Then we'll do yours first, because I mean, every good credit finale of a film has to have an after credit scene. So, I would like to give you all the chance for a little epilogue at the very least. Marcus, let's start with you and Jake. Let me know how you think you two can develop from here, or if you have anything else planned. Stage is all yours.
Marcus and Jake probably become a full-time thing. If it's not established why his eyes are glowing, Marcus had asked if he had gotten bitten, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say, for my sake, yes, he did. So that's why his eyes were kind of glowy, and now Marcus has a hot werewolf boyfriend.
Yes.
He probably drinks a lot less now, now that he knows what Death's angle is, and he seems far less antagonistic towards Death when it shows up, because he understands that he's being groomed into this position as well, and is probably taking to it much more enthusiastically is probably not the word, but he's probably taking to the responsibility and the expectation a little bit better than he had been. And he probably maintains the morgue and still shows up at the bar, but like I said, he probably drinks significantly less now and gets decent sleep. Now that he has a werewolf
I
boyfriend
like
to
it.
wear him out.
I really like it. I'm glad there is a happy ending. And it depended, of course, on that little charm thing as well. Like the had you gone to Jake directly, then you probably would have saved him even before dying. And I would have probably gone after one of the others to have someone die. Because, you know, that Phoenix Feather, I wanted to use it because it was a brilliant idea.
We knew he was going to die, so it had to be him.
Yeah.
So in the
Well, he was
cards.
going to be bitten otherwise, so otherwise the clock would have not counted down to his death, but to his turning into another non-human being, because as we've established, you can't see those clocks.
Yeah.
But yeah. And Marcus, you do also get a letter from Aoife. Takes a while to come, but eventually you find that letter in your mail, and you find, Dearest Marcus, I know you promised me a rematch last time, but I'm afraid I won't be able to take you up on this anymore. As I'm sure you've known for a long time now, to be fair. I haven't met many who could drink me under the table quite like you, which should give you reason to worry if I'm quite honest. I know your shadows, even if I cannot see them myself. But especially the last few months, I've been feeling them come closer. But much to my surprise, I cannot seem to bring myself to fear them. It's different for you, I know. It must be hard being so very aware of death looming every hour of the day, and yet I thought I'd be scared or angry, having lost so many so early to him, having fought him for so often, but now there is peace in his presence. There is something that I cannot quite place my finger on. A familiarity. A similarity. Sometimes out of the corner of my eyes, I think I see him standing, waiting, watching. He has your eyes, you know. Don't be afraid. Aoife. Naneshka, what is your epilogue scene?
Her epilogue scene, I think she is definitely happier. The burden of the demon off of her shoulders, that it's gone now, not transferred to anybody else, that they protected their town, and she seems lighter as she still works at the bar. That hasn't changed. She has put Leia as a full-time worker. That is her punishment. More shifts. Training under Naneshka. And she has every now and then date nights with Anati and Cass. I like to think that they do a lot of movie nights where it's like Naneshka in the middle, one arm over Cass, and then Anati like her head on her lap, and then just having popcorn. She can live her life happily, and I think it takes a while and a few convincing words from both Anati and Cass, but she eventually gets to working on finding her brother again. Her only living blood relative. And I think her after credit scenes will cut out her, you know, you don't really have good computers there, so it's just looking through the yellow pages, calling number after number. And I think her closing out scene would be like there's, you see the yellow book pages, there's X's, circles, and things scratched out, and eventually she calls another number and waits and rings, and his familiar voice comes through with a hello and just a smile on her face.
And I think it's the first time that your brother comes to visit when you find Aoife's letter. Dearest Naneshka, the girl with the thoughtful eyes and the raging storm within. That is what I thought when you first came to Seer's Rest. Frightened and angry and well taught, but not by any hand I could recognize, and you never wanted to talk about it, so we didn't. I was curious, of course, but I always had faith in you, that you could master the storm. Perhaps with the right friend, the right family, the right home. And I can only hope that you would find all of that within the Coven. I never doubted you, even though I know you doubted yourself most days. It is what we do when we learn to accept ourselves, and as witches it is our duty to master this lesson before any others. It is the core of our magic, the core of our power, and you will unlock it. I will miss your steady hand pouring my ale, glancing at the foam with a raised eyebrow or a wink. I shall go knowing that the Bad Moon Rising is in good hands, that Seer's Rest is in good hands. This is your home if you'll have it. Be brave. Aoife. And other than the popcorn nights and movie nights, where I'm sure you only pay half attention to the films, Anati, what is your epilogue scene? Oh, did we lose a D? I think we lost a D.
It's freezing again.
Oh.
Yay. So happy. Oh,
You
I can
have,
hear
you're
it
back,
now.
I think.
Hi.
Good.
Okay.
So other than the
Yes.
popcorn and movie
What
nights,
was the question? Apologies.
what is Anati's epilogue scene?
I think Anati's epilogue scene looks exactly like Anati's first scene. It's a warm day in the cemetery of Seer's Rest, and Anati is talking to Prudence. And she says, I thought a lot about the difference between what makes someone smart and what makes someone wise. And I think for the most part, it's just listening to that voice inside yourself that tells you to help people and be kind and use it to fight the voice that says things you don't want to hear out loud. And the camera pans forward over her shoulder and shows that she's just finished laying a new headstone. And it says Prudence. And she says, "Thank you for all the wisdom you shared with me." And since I also filled one of my aspect slots and get to choose a spell, she does an Isis spell that allows her to bloom life from nothing, and she'll just create this wreath of flowers that she'll place on there. And then she'll hear Naneshka call for her to go somewhere, and she'll get up in a hurry and say, I'm on my way. Rest easy. And she'll run off to be with her partners and live.
You don't get a letter because you already had one. You already got yours from Reeves. But you do get post. You do get mail. It's a large manila envelope. And it contains files. Information on some high-ranking Illuminati members. And a little note. Thank you for the flowers. I can't seem to kill them. Madeline.
Good.
And Sylvie.
So Sylvie's post-credit scene, you see her in Albuquerque. Her in a rental because her car is not yet fixed. Is parked outside. Pino probably waiting as she walks out of travel agency. She sits in the car and she hands Pino his new passport and a ticket while holding on to hers. She's always wanted to see where her grandmother came from, and so she has tickets to Dublin. And she's got this very giddy look on her face. She goes, I can't wait to see iguanodon fossils.
And Pino still, after several months, thinks every time you get excited about fossils or something that most people would maybe consider silly or weird, he just has this huge smile on his face that says, "You're adorable, you little nerd."
I'm quite large. But thank you.
Reeves sits in the car, a letter between his teeth. He drops it in your lap and then walks away into
Please.
nothingness.
You silly cat. And I'm going to look at the letter.
Alain, I had a dream the night after our ritual that I never told you about. It was dark and I was back in Killarney, wandering the shores of Lochleen. Felt the breeze on my face and the grass underneath my feet. The moon shone silver through the clouds, smiling on me like my mother always told me it did. I never saw it until then. Never believed her, but I see it now. I have been blessed 1,000 times over by the Cailleach, and her smile beckons me home. My time is coming, Sylvie. Before I go, I should tell you something, and even as I write this, I don't know if it's the right thing to tell you. Even an old hag like me isn't always sure of herself, but many years ago I received this note. Do not look for me, please. It's better for all of us that way, Connor. I'm yours forever. But don't look for me. Aoife, please take care of her. Teach her. I will see you again in this life or the next, I promise. Ivy. I honored her wish, but every now and then I wonder if I shouldn't have. It is a burden that I do not pass on to you lightly, but I know that in your heart you will do what's right. I'm so very proud of you, Accra. I cannot wait to see your father again. Tell him all about how you've grown up to be such a strong, focused witch. Always remember that I love you. Aoife.
Just gonna neatly fold and look at Pino. My mother is alive.
And that's where we end. Blood Moon Rising, The Great American Witch. Thank you so much, everyone.
Delightful. That was fantastic.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Can't leave
good.
without a tiny, teensy, tiny potential cliffhanger.
Breathe out.
Oh, of course, of course.
All right, it is 1:15, and Rindis, you have a game to be in. So, would you like to tell us where we can find you and any other last thoughts you have for your Coven members before we leave this game for the last time?
Y'all, this was so fun, and I enjoyed playing with each of you. I look forward to getting to play with Val soon for our Blades in the Dark game. I definitely thought we were starting like this week, and I had to double back, and I was like, oh no, it's not for like a month.
We
And
have
I'm like, I just have to
plenty of
sit here and
time.
anticipate. Like, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can find me most days of the week at Party Wipe Games. Currently, there isn't really anything else here. We wrapped up Call of Cthulhu last week, and my rolls were just as abysmal as they were the last time, but I didn't lose 2 characters. I was just useless the entire game. So that was fun. I continued to roll 90 plus for the entire night, and then one random Latin roll was a 5. And it was like, okay, so the one thing I'm good at is being able to speak Latin to a ghost, and that's it. I'll be back, or the next place you can catch me is over on Diesel Shot. We will be playing their Change Stars game that is up on Kickstarter right now. You guys should definitely hop over there and check it out. They had it funded within the first, 5 hours. No, they had it funded in the first hour, and then hit their stretch goals in the first 24 hours, and it's still going up, and it's incredible. And I threw a ridiculous amount of money at them to have a character put in there, so I will be in the book, which is kind of cool. The character I'm going to be playing tonight is very likely the one that will end up in the book. You all know her, you all love her. It's Rendis, it's the science version of her, and she is going to go make sweet love to aliens. That's what she does. So I have to hop off and head that way, so I will see you all later. Goodbye.
Bye.
And Sylvie, Valdrianth, how are you doing? Any last words for your Coven members, and where can we find you?
The last words for all of you is thank you, all of you, for just taking me on this wonderful ride. This is just so different and so much more emotional than I'm used to in TTRPGs. I'm used to having moments, but I felt like we had 10 episodes worth of moments in this game. It was definitely a ride, and thank you, Lydia, for running it so beautifully, and being so thoughtful and caring about us and our characters. It honestly, it was a gift to be here with all of you. But yeah. And as far as where you can find me, oh man. The next time you can find me is over on my channel at Valdrianth on Twitch, where we will have some Dungeons & Dragons on Wednesday. I am in the DM seat. I only have 3 episodes left of that one, or at least of that season. That will be Wednesday morning. Wednesday night, we have Revenge of the Gith. Thursday, The Expanse. Friday, I'm back here. I'll talk about that in a hot second. And then Saturday is Dragon Age, where me and Satan get to be, also go through traumatic events, because it's Dragon Age. There's just 2 moods, trauma and horny, when it comes to Dragon Age. Speaking of, if you would like to see me in my absolute prime me, on Fridays back here at Weave the Tale, you can see me play Viera, who is a velociraptor goddess who demands to be worshipped because why wouldn't you? Who had her dragon best friend and her dinosaur fiance fight over her the last episode. So listen, I had 2 monster boyfriends fighting over me, and I was here for it. So be sure to come check out the fight. We only have 2 more of those because it's a 3-parter, and it is a ride. So yeah, that's me. Follow me on Valdrianth on Twitch and Twitter, and come hang out.
And Alessa, what are your last thoughts on the Coven, and where can we find you next?
My last thoughts is that this game has been an emotional ride, but I loved every second of it. Y'all will always be my Coven. Nobody else can do that. And Lydia, you'll always be our Coven guide. And I'm so happy I got to play in this game. Thank you, Val, for suggesting me to these amazing people, and thank you, Lydia, for reaching out. I've met amazing people, made new friends, and I love you all very, very much. But yeah, you can find me at Alice Vamp on Twitter, and you can find me many, many games. Not no longer here, but maybe hopefully with some of these people in other games at one point. But you can find me over Thursdays at Enter Adventures playing Masks, the new generation. Saturdays with Val playing Dragon Age, and then right after that in Plot Hunters playing D&D. And then Sunday mornings you can find me over at the Hype Goblin playing a homebrew world and with D&D rules. But we kind of just use them as we see fit most of the time. On Sunday nights you can find me over at Indo Adventures playing Realm of the Frost Maiden again. Well, D&D again, Realm of the Frost Maiden. And I'm sure in the future I'll have other games to add on to my collection. But that's me.
Thank you. And D, last but never least, the sweetest of
Oh, hello.
sunshines.
I am
What are
certainly
your
something,
last
ain't I?
thoughts?
This
You're
game
adorable, and you
was
know it.
fantastic. We'll get there. This game was fantastic. I'm glad that I discovered a new system through this, and especially with you people. It was a real great game to play. And Anati is a very dear character. She's gonna be in the memory box for a long time, and of course her relationships with the rest of the Coven. But my name is D. Hi, how are you? You can find me all over the place. On Mondays, you can find me over on the Critical Misses channel for Kingsguard, which is my only show on going forward Mondays. Now that this has wrapped up on Tuesdays, you can catch me over on my channel where I stream. On Wednesdays, you can catch me back on Critical Misses where I GM Under the Pale Cold Sun, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition Chronicle. And on Thursdays, you can catch me on my channel for the premier esports gaming team, the Dub Club. We never lose, we only win. We have never lost a single match of any game you've ever played. Don't check the VOD because I just spoiled the end for you. And on Fridays, you can go on Chaotic Pod where I play Multion in Hidden Magics, a D&D 5th edition game that is run by the lovely Heart Persona. On Saturdays, I sleep. On Sundays, I get into trouble, if we're just being completely honest. But yeah, that's me. This game was lovely, and I also have to jet, so I am going to follow Rin's lead and bid you lovely people a fair adieu. And thank you so much for watching, and thank all of my Coven mates for playing in the game with me. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye!
Bye, D. And I am Lydia. I was your guide. It was a privilege and an honor for all these four incredibly strong role players to allow me to throw all sorts of heartbreak and drama and horniness and sexy characters that partly they made, partly I fleshed out. I think it was a joint effort at them, and deal so well with them, and just it's so nice when something gels and when everyone pulls into the same direction. And I think and I hope that the battle at the end, which was a bit of a stomp, just proves how fucking powerful a coven and a group of witches, whether they're, you know, real witches with actual magical powers or just the magical power of being badass. Women in particular are badass people in real life who have embraced a feminine part of them. How strong they can be when they get their minds together, when they stand together and just, you know, tell big corporations to fuck off. That's incredibly specific, but here we are. It's back in 2021, and I think that needs to be said. We're no longer boomers, everyone. So
I know we're out of, oh god, like Breeze in Millennial. Like,
So I'm going
hey,
to
if
throw
we can
another
say
link in.
something about boomers, they gave us fantastic rock and roll, so we just can't argue with that. That's about it. Like, listen.
I'm not even going to start that argument because we'll be here for another hour if I try and start arguing with Malibu music. But I'm going to throw the link in chat one last time to this fantastic game by Chris Gray, which I really, really had a blast GMing. At first I was terrified because, you know, no rules really. I mean, yes, there are rules, but they're so light and so open to interpretation. And it's definitely a game you can't really super well plan for, which also, anxiety. But if you have your group together and as soon as they realize, wait, I can really do whatever I want, it just flows. It's great. Check that out. Check out his new Kickstarter projects coming, especially Highcasters. We are actually every other Sunday. Actually, next week's going to be Saturday. But we're playing on his channel, Christopher World, a playtest of Highcaster. And I'm an owl person who is a Skoplar, which is a kind of bard, but more of a chronicler. She doesn't perform, she doesn't sing, she doesn't do tricks. Her bardiness comes from listening and telling other people's stories, and I like that. So check out Christopher World. Can I spell? Yes, there we go. And hopefully it's going to be in YouTube as well. Speaking of, thank you so much, everyone watching on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the ride, and I hope you enjoyed the curb stomp towards the werewolves and Alistair in particular, because my god, was he an asshole. Ugh, I'm so glad he just fucked him up thoroughly. Let us know.
I saw that spell and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take it.
It's so good because you both did it together, and like they both just literally taking his power away over others, but then taking his physical power and, well, life away in this case, which worked so well for your character. I love it. Yeah. I'm here for it. Yeah.
I really want to fuck him up.
Also, do check out our sponsors that help us get all of our shows together each and every season. And do check out our Discord and our socials, mostly because we are at the end of our season. We have a couple of projects coming up. One Shot Wednesday is going to be back the next 3 weeks, where we play a one-shot each and every week, starting with Lex Arcana, 5e system, but very different world. Colin's going to GM that one at 6 p.m. EST. We also have casting calls open for the one next week, and there'll be another casting call, and then the casting calls for next season come in. So if you want to play with folks, please do join us. Please send in your clips. Please send in your applications. I will not be GMing or playing because I have a job now. So I'm mostly going to be visible in real life on the Royal Mile now that we're coming slowly out of lockdown, guiding tourists around and trying to not to make too many adult-oriented jokes at families, which is going to be hard after a year in TTRPG, especially with you horny folks. But yeah, that's 9 to 5, and I have to kind of return to my own time zone for that, so I'm having to step away from TTRPGs online mostly, but I will be around and I will watch all your shows if I can. So thank you very much for joining us. We are going to rate. We're going to rate our sister channel, Penny for a Tale, because they're playing Necrobiotic, which is a game that the Penny for a Tale network is kickstarting in just a few days. And Mitch Spence and a couple of lovely other faces are going to show you how that's done. So join us next season. Join us at Discord and all our socials. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stay witchy. Bye.
These are the tales we weave. Tales of magic. Tales of mystery. Tales exploring the beyond. And while we continue to grow, even more adventures await. In the depths of the unknown. Will you join us in the telling?